It's been a long, tumultuous season, capped off with this weekend's 2-0 or 2-1, I should say, loss to Elfersberg. I mean, obviously, we didn't get the same medicine in Prusa Munster. They had a fight all season, at least the end of the season, last three games under new man Christian Pander. But we didn't really have the fight. Yeah, we got the goal at the end of the game there, but I mean, other than that, it was a horrible run, horrible season, and just in general. Um, sum up the season for me in a couple words. How it felt for you?
Uh, I'm trying to find the correct word that actually makes grammatical sense, but there's a sense of like cementation. I feel like almost in this. I feel like we have unfortunately sort of cemented our place in the second division for the time being.
We're the new Hamburg, aren't we?
Hopefully not, but it would appear that way. I mean, we'll see what happens, obviously, over the course of the summer in terms of squad development, and the new coaching staff and all these kind of things. But some of the statements we've heard from Tillman and others basically being like, "Oh, I think the squad's actually fine. It's just about getting the most out of them." That's a statement that has me very worried because I don't think the squad's fine. So I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah. So I guess my words for this season is just we might be a Division Two side for a bit. I think it's going to be a tall ask to follow up the performance we had this year and honestly last year as well, and expect us to just suddenly then jump into the top two, top three.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you about like this squad is not okay. It's not. It really isn't. And hearing Yuri Mulder and company say that, and then also saying like, "Oh yeah, we're safe from relegation," and then we nearly got relegated to the third division. It shows you that we're not okay. And so Frank Baumann has a lot of work on his hands. But this season in general, it just Gelsenberry on YouTube said it best. It seems like he said like it's like it seems like a completely different world from the start of the season. It really does. Like you started the season obviously with under Gerards, get a nice 5-1 win against Braunschweig, and it's pretty much downhill from there, unfortunately. And like,
I'll skip ahead to this right now just because it's funny, but like my honorable mention for high point of the season was the 5-1 opener against Braunschweig, just because it was in such stark contrast to the overwhelming majority of the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
yeah, yeah. And so like it went up and down. We had these high hopes with Gerards. Obviously that didn't work out. Filippo came in temporarily, and then Van Valderen came in. Ended the Hinrunde really well. We're like, okay, we got some optimism here, and then it kind of all like shit the bed from there. And then only that stuff that we heard from other managers was said out loud while the manager was sitting in his bench, Kees Van Valderen. He said things that wasn't mentioned before, at least publicly during his job, and it kind of opened up a can of worms, and who knows what's going to happen now. But yeah, it just what a crazy year, and where I think Gamer Brothers said it best, where he said like, the higher ups seem like they're content with just surviving the season. It's like, no, that's how low we've gotten. That's why we're talking about one of the worst seasons in history. We should be battling, top five, top six, with this club and the statue of it with his fans, and we're not. And the management seemed content with being in a poor state that we are. And so it's like, what the fuck are we doing with this team? Pardon my French, but man, it's such a frustrating season. Kororo says the question is, were we worse under Gerards? That's a fair question. I mean, I think defensively we're as bad. Offensively we're worse with Kees Van Vonderen than we were with Gerards. At least with Gerards, we were scoring goals, but every game would be 4-3, 5-3 for the opposition. And now it's like 2-0, 3-0, and it showed at the end of the season. I mean, how about you? Do you feel we were any better or worse under Van Vonderen compared to Gerards, or the same?
I mean, I think there were times stylistically where we looked a lot better in possession and offensively going forward under Van Vonderen than we did under Gerards. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Wondering ultimately wasn't the tonic that we thought he was going to be in terms of improving things over the course of the season. So I think it's probably largely a wash. I'd have to go back and I'm just kind of look at like the points per game and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't really feel like fundamentally we improved that much outside of that one false dawn towards the end of the Hinrunde.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Kuroda says like Van Vonderen was brought in, we were told, to stabilize the defense, and that defense really did not stabilize. Yeah, we had that false dawn you mentioned at the end of the Hinrunde, but other than that, it's just like the defense was non-existent. And we knew of the problems going into the season. And you and I talked about extensively how like, and I think even particularly you like harped on it, like this is not a team that tells you screams promotion. It's like it's a team that's struggling defensively. That was the thing we screamed from the beginning all summer. Last summer was like fix up the defense, and they did not. And that's been frustrating things. Like we clearly see the errors that need to be fixed, yet the people in charge didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not a sensational offensive team, but the combination of Karaman and Silla, if they're healthy, is going to score you a few goals. We're pretty good on set pieces. You know what I mean? I mean, like we have enough goals to be in the mix if our defense is, commendable, and it's far from that. So that's a consistent issue.
Yeah, 100%. And it ended up showing in the table. It was dicey there at to say the least at the end of the season, but we ended up not finishing in the relegation spots, but two places up, 14th position, 38 points. Munster did end up staying behind us, but Greuther Fürth surpassed us. So Braunschweig will be playing in the playoff against Heidenheim, and then Ulm and Regensburg go down. So I mean,
who got promoted? Was it Bielefeld
and Dresden?
Dresden, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a playoff between Braunschweig and Saarbrücken. And I kind of feel like Saarbrücken's going to win that. I feel like they're going to be a team to watch out. They've beaten Bayern more recently than anybody else in the second division, so gotta worry about that. But yeah, it's going to be the season ended horribly. Obviously, look, minus 10 goal differential, and for most part of the season we were roughly 50-50 in terms of goals, 4 goals against, but then it just ended the season. It just blew up in our face ultimately, and catastrophic. Catastrophic is, I think, the nicest way I can put the end of the season here. So I don't know.
No arguments for me.